four corners of the earth, we are preach God's word in various places. And from in the darkest night right to the daylight, we give praises. So we give praises. Now on everyday topics, well, you know we come for shine some light using godly principles. Yes, that's right. On the straight and the narrow path, that's where we go. Welcome to the Daylight Show.
Hey, it's time for season 3 here on the Daylight Show with yours truly, Crystal Daye. All right, it's me. I enjoy myself because I am alone on the set today. Listen, I don't know how they convinced me to do a solo episode, but let's see how we can do this. So listen, first I want to say thank you to all my listeners, all my viewers, all the persons that have left comments, all my guests so far. I can't believe we're already at season 3. Like literally 1 year ago the show started. Yes, it was in August that the show started last year. And I decided to push it back down because this is like a birthday episode. Because my birthday is in a few days. I kind of tell people that I don't really think you celebrate 37 years. Like, nobody really remember your 37 years. You remember 35, maybe 36, but 37. But, you know, I am super excited to be on today by myself so that I can talk about dun, 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 how to live a blessed life. Yes, that's a topic that I felt led on my spirit, but also because my new book is coming out dun, 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 this year also. So for my birthday, I'll be doing my cover reveal. So look out if you're not following me on Instagram or on Facebook yet, definitely on LinkedIn. You can definitely go and check out because my cover reveal will be revealed on my birthday, and pre-order for the book will be open also with a lot of goodies I have in store, and the book will be later down in the year. I'm thinking about October because, you know, it's Crystal's birthday. So I'm going to take over her birthday by launching a book. I don't know. I don't decide yet, but I'm still processing. The book is finished actually, but I just want to spend some time promoting it. But even before the promotion start, I was actually doing my makeup for this episode, and I was talking to my makeup artist. Shout out to Shauna, you know, and Davia. They have held me down for the last 3 seasons, always have me glammed up. Shout out to my mother for always having me, you know, looking cute and all. And of course, I buy my own clothes sometimes, but mostly Nadine buy the clothes, right? And I was thinking, you know, what the episode could be. And I remember just saying to my assistant to say, hey, maybe you could talk about, you know, how to live a blessed life. And Shauna said to me, but what does a blessed life looks like? Or what is that really? And it just kind of sparked excitement in me. I'm like, you know what? That's what I'm going to talk about, because I'm hoping that even this episode will help you to prepare for the guests that are coming for this season. I want to pause and think about even season 1. Like, I remember, you know, we had Pastor Cav, we had Pastor Basil, we had Carla Dunbar, we had some amazing persons for season 1. And guess what? All the seasons, the replay is on the MTM TV YouTube channel. So if you have not subscribed to MTM YouTube, what are you waiting for? Also, go and subscribe to Dayelight, Crystal Daye, my YouTube channel also, because I've had extra goodies there. And when I think about even season 2, we had Pastor Corey that talked about the Christmas episode. We had Pastor Malcolm. We had, you know, just a lot of amazing guests for season. The Lengs were also on season 2, and now we have season 3. And I'm excited because you want to see the lineup. You'll see it soon, but you have to tune in every Thursday here on MTM TV for the Daylight Show with yours truly, Crystal Daye. So, blessed life. Now, just a little bit about me, because I've been just interviewing persons, and, you know, for a few persons I've been like, I know that we follow you on social media, but what is your story? Like, what is your claim to fame, you know, kind of thing. And that's how, I guess, the inspiration came to have my own solo episode. So, as I mentioned, you know, for me, I love Jesus. Probably that's the first thing I should say. I love Jesus. That's where it starts. I call myself an ambitious Jesus girl. I'm a millionaire motivator. I love to motivate others. I will make millions motivating others, and I will reach millions. You know, just, yeah, motivating them to be the best that God has called them to be. But the reality is that the story that you're seeing unfold, that is Crystal Daye, no, that's not Like that should not have been my reality. I was born in Maxwell Avenue, pretty poor. I mean, no, you kind of realize you're not as poor as you watch those African. They say those kids that are hungry, that kind of poor, but growing up, we are financially we were very poor. I remember there were days that we couldn't go to school because we didn't have lunch money. I remember days that we only got clothes when it was Christmas. And of course, shout out to my parents. They did the best that they could in terms of, I tell people, even though we were financially poor, we were rich in love because both my parents were there. And even when they decided to split and no longer be together as a couple, I can say that both my parents have always been there for my siblings and I. So I'm the eldest of no five kids. My parents have four of us. So you have Crystal, you have Christopher, Davian, Nayoka. May Nayoka rest in peace. My sister, she died in 2018 at age 21. And then, my mom, Mary, shout out to my stepdad, Dion, and I have the prettiest one of us all, Daniela Brown, my little sister. And I just remember growing up just just have always been very ambitious, always been very driven. My father would always tell me and tell us that the only way out of the inner city is to have a quality education. So I did pretty well in school, and I'm always trying to get awards in school, come first. I remember graduating from high school as the top girl at the school that year. And one of the stories that I always share is that when I was graduating, they volunteered me as valedictorian, and I tell him that I would never be seen speaking in public. Before that, I don't come to the graduation. And it's always interesting because no, I can't shut up. Mind you, I'm sure I couldn't shut up from that back then. Because I remember at 2.5, I was attending the RGR basic school, and my report says Crystal is so brilliant, but she talks too much. So, when I think about, just those stories coming up, and after I left high school, I graduated from high school about age 15 and went to sixth form for a year. I got a scholarship to go to sixth form for a year. And after a year, I decided that I wasn't going to go back to sixth form. I was going to work because I mean, my parents did the best that they could, but financially we were struggling, and my siblings, it was time for my brother to do CXC, etc. And I decided to go and work. But I always had this dream of having a degree, and I decided to work and go back to school and complete my degree part time. And to God be the glory. By age 23, 24, thereabout, I would have completed the degree. I had a good job. I was climbing the corporate ladder. But I tell people, this is the great side in terms of people seeing the accomplishments and stuff. But what people wouldn't see is one, I did not grow up in a Christian home. I grew up in the inner city. We listen dancehall songs. I've been going to parties since I was 14 years old. I was having sex at age 16. I got pregnant actually at age 16 and did an abortion. And I knew that God exists. I always knew that God exists because I remember visiting the country where my aunt lived, and she would pray, and my mom would always tell us to pray. And I remember God moments in my life, but I had no intentions to serve God. And when I was about 19, I don't remember what age, probably about 19, somebody that I was dating, he well, we weren't dating at the time, but somebody that I dated, but we were very good friends. He went to visit a girl, and a guy came in and killed him. And I feel like that was the first time I remember just somebody very close to me dying. And that one hit me more than ever because we were actually supposed to go out that night. So there was a lot of guilt because I told him that I was tired. I decided to sleep in that Friday night. And I guess, he wanted something else to do and ended up. And for many years, I had this guilt. So I started to kind of search for this God and visiting a lot of churches. The thing is, when as I visit churches, I didn't feel like I fit in. So I like to dress up. I don't like to wear hats. I like to wear pants. I like to wear shorts. And Christianity seemed too boring for me. But I remember visiting this one church, shout out to King Cod Christian Fellowship, where I went to the church and persons had on pants, and it was just not the norm. And I remember the pastor just preaching about the love of God. Listen, I'm going to pause this story here because I literally spoke about all of this story in my book, Living a Royal Reality. So you need to just pause and go and get that book now. So I'm coming back down to Blessed Life. Fast forward to where I'm at now. I'm a talk show host. I am, I own my own business. I'm a mother of, a beautiful, almost 13 years old, going on to 30, because she get talking sometimes. But really, a blessing to be her mom, and traveling all over the world. Actually, I'm just coming from Italy, and I went to Saint Lucia. I went to France. I was in Trinidad and Tobago recently, and I'm looking at my life now, and I am like, what? This is my life now. And when I think about a blessed life, the funny thing is that I've always, even I remember, even when I didn't have a lot, I've always felt blessed. I've always felt like God's hands was upon me, even when I was in the dance, even when I was in the club, even when I was promiscuous, even when I had did an abortion, like all the negative things that have happened in my life, I've always felt that I was still blessed to be living the life that I'm living. Which comes down to the definition that I felt like the Holy Spirit gave me of what a blessed life is, and it's living in the awareness of God's faithfulness. That's the meaning of living a blessed life that God gave me. And just to break it down, when I think about living in God's faithfulness, many persons would have watched my life for many years, and feeling like I'm probably a little bit more special than others. This unicorn, oh, she's from the inner city and she made it out of the inner city, and doing great things. Now I'm on hashtag reach millions, touching people with my books, with my speaking, with my coaching. And it's even, I've served over 500 authors since I've been a full time in my business. I've hosted the largest book fair here, Christian book fair here in the Caribbean, the largest author conference here in the Caribbean. I used to host events for women, with 200 women attending this conference, and international speakers and all of these things. And I know sometimes people would make it seem like, oh, she's super special, which I am, and I'm God's favorite. But the reality is that you are his favorite too. And when you think about a blessed life, and when we're going to go on a break in a few minutes, I will now break down more on the next section, to talk about what a blessed life could look like and talk a little bit more about the book. But as we go on our first break, I want you to think about this definition that the Lord gave me about the blessed life. It's living in God's faithfulness. Like, how has God been faithful to you? The song that comes to mind, is, and everybody, evokes emotion for everybody, the goodness of God. Like, all my life, He has been faithful. And I know for many persons, they have gone through different things. Maybe you were born with sickness. I remember in season one, we interviewed Kaisha, that she was born with a sickness, or, persons like Alisa, that was also on the episode, that is now living with HIV. And, you think about persons that may have lost, children. You have women that are struggling to have children right now. There are women that have been waiting for God to get married, and all of these things. And you're like, but where has God been? And I can tell you, I may not be sharing all of my down moments right now, but if you have read most of my books or follow me on social media, I have shared that I've had hard days. I've had days where my car run out of gas. Crystal and I in the car run out of gas. I would just lay down in the car hoping somebody will come and help us. There are days that even as this big influencer that I've experienced, I've experienced, even recently my second mom passed away, and I was even able to be at that funeral, and that was hard. That was really hard for me. But again, a blessed life is living in God's faithfulness while being contented, because we have dreams, we have plans, but we can be contented while living purposeful, which is serving others despite life's challenges. So as we go on our first break, right? Of course, each season we have our book of the week. So you're gonna check out the book of the week. Please go and support the authors who are supporting the show. We have businesses that are also advertising with us this season, which I'm super excited about. I am just honored for the MTM team to allow me to continue each season to be able to share with our guests, etc. So go and support the authors, support the businesses, support the brands that are supporting the show, and I'll be back in a few minutes.
Principles, yes, that's right. On the straight and the narrow path, that's where we go. Welcome to the Daylight Show.
Go, Shorty. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. It's season 3 here on the Daylight Show with yours truly, Crystal Daye. And I am doing a solo episode if you're just tuning in. Listen, if you missed the first half of the show, stop and go and re-listen. Or no, wait until you finish and then you go and repeat, right? But I am talking about how to really live a blessed life. And in the first part of the show, I talk a little bit about my story and I say, listen, you need to go and get my first book, Living a Royal Reality. When I say it juicy, you will really and truly be blessed by that book. And I also shared a little bit about, what I believe that the Lord is saying a blessed life look like. And just a reminder is that living in that awareness of God's faithfulness while being contented and purposeful despite life challenges. And one of the things I want to share is that the truth is we're all going through something. I know sometimes because of social media, it looks like, oh, this person is living their blessed life and their best life. And, and we don't recognize that no matter how successful somebody is, that we have gone through some stuff. And I shared with you, before some of the things that I've gone through some stuff, but God has been so faithful. So as I thought about it, and as I mentioned, my new book, Live Your Blessed Life Now, is coming out this year in a few months, right? But right now we're taking pre-orders, so I want you to definitely go and order the copies. We have a lot of goodies in store for you when you do the pre-order. And when I thought about the blessed life as I was writing this book, the Lord gave me 7 rules of what it means to blessings. But I can't share all 7, so I'm going to share three of them with you today. One, it's God's nature to bless. When you see through the scriptures, even persons who have had very colorful past, you would have seen God's mercy just upon them and his goodness. And you would have seen him just bless them. And even as Solomon said, like the blessings of the Lord that make it rich, add no sorrow to it. So when you think about living a blessed life, I want you to again just focus on God's faithfulness. Now, the second aspect of it is that it's your blessings are not just material. Because a lot of times we focus on only material things. And I just remember, just growing up, and I've always been a pretty happy person. It's weird because I've just always felt like God's hands was upon me, even in hard times. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't cry sometimes. It doesn't mean that we don't complain. Sometimes we don't feel sad. All of these emotions that we go through. But I just always just believe that the God of the Bible, he's so good. He's so good. And it's his desire to bless us. And I just want to remind you that blessings are not just material. Even if you don't have all the things that you think you need to have, that you can experience blessing. And again, Paul talks about it being, just he was able to be contented with little and in much. And I tell you, one of the things that kept coming to my mind, that God bless. You see, when you are faithful with little, God bless you with much. Another aspect of it is that blessings are not limited. They're unlimited amount of blessings. I think about even this year. So I came into this year with, just having the desire that I wanted to speak more internationally. And not quite sure, like I didn't necessarily have a plan how it would happen, but I knew that, I was going to try to put myself more out there as a speaker. And, just so far in the year, I've spoken once, about 6 times. One of my favorites was in DC. Shout out to my friend Ashley for that invitation, of speaking at her church brunch to talk about just, the women of the Bible. And that was such a blessing. I remember just while I was there, just getting an Atlanta speaking engagement and, end up also going to Tampa, Florida. And, just watching these doors open and people sometimes make me feel like, oh my God, like, she's super more special or super more favored by God than everybody else. And while I am, you are too. And in the book, I talk about just what it means for me to live a blessed life, but what are the things, the practical things that you can do that you can experience a blessed life too. Now, if you have never read a book written by Crystal Daye, like, why not? Because these books are like download from the Holy Spirit, right? And when I wrote the book and I sent it to some persons to kind of get their feedback, and two of the feedback that I love was one of the persons said that this book feels like a personal development God's way. And I love that description is personal development God's way, because in the book I talk about stewarding your finance, I talk about developing self-discipline, I talk about just finding that passion. I shared about just developing your own success recipe, etc. These are things, practical things that if you are a believer, a woman of faith, or even if you're not like on the faith side yet, but you believe that there's a God that wants to bless you and you want to experience that blessings, then I really believe that you should prepare yourself to get this book. Another thing that as I thought about the blessed life, I thought about what hinders us from living a blessed life. And the more I reflected on it, it's a scarcity mindset. Now, I mentioned that growing up in the inner city, when I say that even when I came into my business, I had a scarcity mindset. Like when it comes down to money, like many of you, it feels like even when I was in a 9 to 5 job, that I was in a pretty good job. Like I was always living ante mode. Sometimes even in a business, you would have like this abundance of clients in 1 month, and then a few months after you go into this drought, and you're like, how am I going to survive? And when I thought about it, the scarcity mindset is what has held many of us back from seeing the blessings that we already have, but experiencing more blessings. And that's another thing that the Lord showed me as I wrote this book, is that the more you are aware of blessings, is the more you attract blessings. And it's not in the universe kind of way that sometimes people talk about new age. And I mean, I don't really know much about new age, but I know that the word attraction or manifestation or all of these things is not bad. It's what you put to them. And a lot of people, when they think about blessings and, all of the money, and what the thing is that they make it become an idol. But if you put things in perspective to know that the only God that you serve is the true and living God, Jesus Christ, the Son of God that has came here, died for our sins, that it is he desires to bless us. He says that he wishes us to prosper, even as our soul prosper. He says he come here to give us life and life more abundantly, And it's interesting because the name of the book first was called Blessed Book and Boundless. So that was the name of the book. And I did a little research, and, persons didn't really understand the book part of it, because many persons thought, should I be book as a speaker? It's like, all right, I probably need to rename it. And after much prayer, that's how Live Your Blessed Life Now came to mind. And, the more I became more aware of how blessed I am. And when you think about like this season, I have some of my two of my very good friends, they will be on this season as we talk about godly friendships. I think about the riches that I experience in friendship, not just now, but even as young as I can remember. I know some of you may feel like, again, that you may not have experienced your best life yet, but can I tell you that right now, that where you are at, that you are positioned for such a time as this. Like you're empowered. That's my second book, Empowered for Such a Time as This. And when I think about all, just the journey that God has have me on, I really and truly pray that as you read this book, that you will really and truly experience the blessings of God, that you will see God's hand upon your life no matter what you're going through. So we are almost at the end of the first episode of season 3, and I'm reflecting on my journey here, you know, as a part of the MTM family, having my own talk show. I had my own podcast. I host events. I'm a coach and I get to coach the most amazing people ever. Like I have some of my clients that are coming on this season also. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see their growth. I'm excited to see their breakthroughs. And the biggest thing I want you to leave with is that awareness. That awareness. And even as a coach, this is my book, Become a Christian Life Coach. And even as a coach, the level of self-awareness that I have experienced over the last few years has again just helped me to be even more impactful. And so, in the book, as I share, I talk about things like finances, I talk about self-discipline, I talk about, finding that passion, I talk about, dressing for success. And I love, I get when the descriptions that the person share, that it's a personal development book, that God's way, like personal development God's way. And we have our prompts and stuff. As we close this episode, some takeaways that I want to leave you with is that one, that your best life is not before. It wasn't it wasn't in the past. Your best life is not just available in the future. Because yes, you have greater blessings available in the future. But can I tell you that the life that you're living right now, because of the breath in your lungs, that you are living the best life despite the circumstances, because of God's faithfulness. And that's the beautiful thing about being alive, that at any moment your circumstance can change. And most of the times, and I talk about it in the book, that your life change when your mindset change. When you change your mindset about things, and just overcome that scarcity thinking that is holding you back, you can see the goodness of God in many circumstances. I think about even the gentleman that that no hand and no foot, Nick, I don't remember to pronounce his last name, and he's married with children. Like, I mean, just think about just so many persons that have gone through hard seasons, but because of the promises of God, like in Romans 8:28, that all things work together for our good, we can just say, our blessed life is now. Not in the past, because you have had some wins, not just in the future because they are greater in store, but even right now you can experience it. That as you prepare for this season, we have 12 amazing episodes. We will every Thursday here on MTM TV. I'll be interviewing some great guests. We are talking about some really good topics. We're talking about trauma. We're talking about demons. We're talking about, just mental health and, friendships this year. We're talking about relationships, of course. And I know that you will be blessed. And the last thing I want to share is that I know I don't always advertise my services or anything like that, but I'll take the opportunity to invite you to work with me. One, as a publisher. So if you have written a book and you want somebody to help you to publish, choose Dayelight Publishers. We are like the best ever, right? So choose Dayelight Publishers to publish your book with us. Secondly, if you have an idea for a book and you're like, but I don't know what to write, I don't know how to write it, I do offer a boot camp, actually a 4-month boot camp, Reach Millions Author Boot Camp, where in the 4 months I help you to bring that book to life. And of course, my new favorite, because I recently started again doing one-on-one coaching. So I do one-on-one coaching for 6 months, helping persons to monetize their brand. If you want to become a coach, you want to become a speaker, you want to learn how to impact others, maybe you have an event you want to launch, an event, whatever you want to monetize and to be able to impact others. I love to coach you on that journey. So that's it for me for this week. Again, I want you, throughout the episode, you'll hear me talking about one, ensuring that you support the authors that are supporting the show. They're the reason that I can be here every week. So I want you to go and purchase their books, support their businesses. Of course, leave a comment on the YouTube channel, and connect with me on Instagram. I'm looking forward to serving you this season here on the Daylight Show. Love you, but God loves you more.